St. Lawrence, you have 1 minute left in your startup period. And you may now begin your presentation.
Vision, one of the fundamental drivers of change. Without vision, there would be no progress, no innovation, no change. The same could be said for adversity. Without a challenge, there is nothing to overcome. Our city of Kingston, Ontario has a vision to be the most sustainable city in Canada through focus on our cultural vitality, economic health, environmental responsibility, and social equity.
With a population of 117,000 people, 3 proud post-secondary institutions, and the highest number of millionaires per capita in Canada, Kingston is a community rich with opportunity and prosperity. Our city's invested heavily in responsible energy alternatives, bettering its economic health, and improving the cultural vitality in our community. However, despite best efforts to facilitate change, there is still a distinct divide between those who have and those who do not.
Kingston is home to 16,000 people living below the poverty line, with 40% being children. Additionally, there are 7,000 working poor, placing a high demand on our local not-for-profits, which are already overextended due to a lack of resources. With the Ontario government planning to cut social funding to reduce the budget deficit, these not-for-profits will now face an even greater lack of resources moving forward.
Our SIFE team was not okay with this disparity of social equity, having many affluent individuals and at the same time, so many very poor. We wanted to change things, and this is how we did it.
With compound change.
Compound change is like compound interest, except instead of building interest upon interest, you're building change upon change, creating economic, social, and environmental impact.
To create these compound solutions, our team follows several different steps.
Once a problem has been identified, we conduct a needs assessment by performing secondary research, surveys, and audits, with the goal of determining the underlying cause of the problem.
By determining the underlying cause, we are then able to create solutions that address the source of the problem, not just the symptoms.
We consider the economic, social, and environmental factors to each of our situations to ensure that our solutions reflect a holistic effort.
In developing and executing our solutions, we focus on the education and empowerment of individuals in a way that allows them to take the necessary steps to continue their success into the future.
We are here today celebrating the story of not only our SIFE team, but of the driven organizations and the members of our community who decided they wanted to make a difference and share in a vision for change. We will be introducing 4 of our 10 projects: Manage Your Money, the Investment Club, the Food Bank, and the World Business Forum.
Our Manage Your Money story began 3 years ago after an alarming discovery. Students were at risk of being forced to drop out of school because they couldn't meet the financial demands. 2 out of 3 students did not know how to budget properly, and furthermore, 43% had applied for emergency bursaries towards the end of the school year, despite having received a student loan at the beginning of the year.
Our team worked with experts to develop a financial literacy program that is delivered to approximately 320 students each year, making sure they understand how to properly budget and plan for future expenses. This results in our students being able to stay in school and empowers them to obtain a higher standard of living and quality of life once they graduate.
But for us, that wasn't enough. When we consider where the majority of our financial education comes from, the first answer to pop into most people's heads would be our parents. I can clearly remember hearing my parents discuss their mortgage or the time they brought me to the bank to open my very first bank account. This basic form of financial education is very important, but is often something the average person takes for granted. Of course, I know the difference between a savings and a checking account, but does that mean that everyone has this basic knowledge?
Let me ask you this. What about children without parental guidance? Where do they learn basic financial literacy? These are youth under the care of Family and Children's Services, or FCS. Although funded by the provincial government, these organizations are often stretched thin in terms of resources, meaning financial education is often taught too little, too late. Without proper financial education, these youth run the risk of a severely low standard of living and quality of life as adults, as their chances of continuing to live on government assistance is extremely high.
In an attempt to repair this gap in knowledge, our provincial government mandated that all FCS provide financial literacy education to youth under their care before certain funds are released.
We worked with our local FCS to create an interactive, dynamic financial education program for the youth. In creating such a program, we needed to determine the relevant environmental factors, such as low confidence levels and lack of experience in terms of budgeting, social factors such as learning disabilities, as well as economic factors to ensure we could provide a comprehensive program to our local FCS at minimal cost. This was especially important considering another FCS had paid $30,000 to a consulting company to create such a program, which eventually failed.
To create the best program possible, we approached our Dean of Arts to supply funding for a college instructor to teach the material and a classroom at the college to hold the sessions. SIFE volunteers would be on hand in the classroom to work one-on-one with the youth, providing an engaging and interactive environment. Our team delivers 3 sessions a year, 5 weeks per session. We discovered that being able to provide this program at the college actually empowers the youth because it enables them to become comfortable in a college environment, and they're able to gain the confidence to succeed and attend post-secondary institution.
The following is a testimonial from Emma McIntosh, Manager of Children's Services at our local FCS.
We have many youth who are planning for their future. In addition to the benefits from the financial literacy training, there's also been an introduction to what could be future opportunities for them at St. Lawrence.
Using surveys and discussion groups as effective evaluation techniques, we hold a review after every session to look for ways to improve. Through the process of creating and maintaining this program, we've hit many bumps in the road, forcing us to rethink, redesign, and recreate.
In previous sessions, all of our classroom volunteers and our instructor were from the School of Business at St. Lawrence College. They had a difficulty in reacting to many of the personal requirements of some of the youth going through the program. To solve this problem, we brought in an instructor and students from the Child and Youth Worker program at our school, creating a partnership for SIFE. Now, these changes not only improve the quality of the program by creating a collaborative approach, but also ensures its sustainability by creating a network of people concerned with its continued success.
By empowering the youth to make their own financial decisions, and by giving our local FCS more time to focus on their work, we are creating change upon change. Since May of last year, this program has empowered 37 youth, and we are already preparing for our next session that will begin at the end of this month.
This year we expanded our program to reach over 30 at-risk youth at Pathways to Education. This charitable organization works within an area of Kingston with a baseline high school dropout rate of 52% and the lowest average family income in all of Kingston, making financial literacy vital to this community. We've expanded our curriculum to include life skills, such as resume building and study skills, and we're very excited to see where it can take the youth who attend.
But as all of you know, learning about saving and budgeting doesn't mean that you're an expert on finances. In 2010, we decided to take our financial literacy vision to the next level and teach college students about the wide world of investing. Here, we had taught our students how to save and manage their money. Now we wanted to teach them to expand it.
With the knowledge that there was very little practical learning about investing at St. Lawrence College, our SIFE team knew how unprepared students were to begin safely investing on their own. We wanted to ensure that our students could be smart and savvy with their money by investing it properly. And so began the Investment Club.
Our club provides students with the opportunity to interactively learn the ins and outs of the stock market by participating in the management of 3 funds.
Let's begin with the investment fund. Here, students are not only able to learn vocabulary and strategies, but they are able to do something completely unique for a college in Canada. They will be investing $13,000 in the Toronto Stock Exchange, thanks to donations they came by using sound business concepts such as creating partnerships. Through this fund, students are able to gain indispensable, valuable, hands-on experience.
The students perform exhaustive research, compile the information, and then make educated decisions. They may gather input from their advising committee, but the end decision relies solely on the students' shoulders.
Our second fund is a bursary that began after we noticed how few scholarships there were for students who begin their education in January. These students are typically adults who not only struggle to return to school because of the stigma they face as mature students, but also because Ontario has the highest tuition rates in Canada. After recognizing this need, it was then that we began the My Turn Endowment Fund.
Our first step in raising funds for this bursary was to raise awareness. We met with our professors individually to convince them of the need that some of their students were in. We quickly raised $7,800, with more coming in via payroll donations. We then received an impressive $5,000 check from our student government.
These donations amounted to $12,800, and thanks to the Ontario government pledging an additional $10,000, we were able to invest a grand principal of $22,800 into the fund. This bursary, which will first be awarded in January of 2013, will give one mature student each year the means to attend college, helping them to live out their dream.
And we've been contributing to even more dreams worldwide through our third fund, the SLC Kiva Fund, which we began to manage in 2010. Kiva is an international not-for-profit organization that provides microloans to aspiring entrepreneurs in developing countries.
Through an orientation fundraiser we hold each September, we have been able to raise $2,800 in loan capital. But because of Kiva's 99% rate of return, we've been able to disperse this amount nearly 6.5 times for over $18,000 in interest-free loans. Our fund has impacted 111 individuals in over 30 countries achieve their dreams of owning their own business and being their own boss. These entrepreneurs have ranged from a family in Pakistan who wanted to expand their milk farm, to Salifu, a young woman in Ghana who needed to purchase bags of millet to keep up with the rising demand in her porridge-making business.
Through our various funds, we have empowered SLC students by giving them the knowledge and success skills to make informed decisions about the world of investing. And we've also instilled and solidified in them the notion of giving to those less fortunate than ourselves. We use comprehensive annual reports as effective evaluation techniques to ensure that the success and the sustainability of this project continues.
So far, we have discussed with you 2 projects which focus on financial education. Next, we would like to share with you our team's 3-year food bank story, as reflected on our timeline. In 2009, on a bus returning home from an ACE leadership forum, members of our team were discussing our local food bank, as well as the financial and capacity issues that they were facing, and what we could do to help. Our entrepreneurial vision was to cut costs and increase capacity by replacing their 5 inefficient chest freezers with 1 commercial walk-in freezer. Little did our team know that this simple vision would quickly turn into a 3-year uphill battle, taking the efforts of our whole team, members of our community, and local businesses.
As the business plan for tackling the freezer began to take shape, SIFE and a group of Energy Systems Engineering Technology students from St. Lawrence College performed an energy audit. This energy audit showed us that by replacing the 5 chest freezers with the large commercial walk-in freezer, we would actually save the food bank 1,000 kilowatt hours per year, inspiring us to look into other green business ideas.
In September of 2010, our team began preparing an application to Ontario's Microfit program, a 20-year contract that would allow our food bank to install solar panels and sell the energy they produced into the electrical grid as a source of revenue.
3 months after this submission, we were accepted into the program. We only had 1 year to complete the installation, though, or we would be dropped from the program. With the help of a marketing campaign and a collaborative approach with our community, we began looking for sources of funding.
By February 2011, a new idea began to form, an idea to purchase a 5-ton fuel-efficient refrigerated truck for the food bank. Previously, the food bank had used a fuel-inefficient van to transport their donations, and during busy campaigning times, they were often forced to rent an even larger truck to help transport their donations in time, driving up their expenses. Our entrepreneurial vision was to replace the fuel-inefficient van with a refrigerated 5-ton fuel-efficient truck. However, without the $100,000 needed to make the purchase, our team took the entrepreneurial approach of creating strategic partnerships.
As our team solicited funding for the truck, another aspect of this project came into fruition. In March 2011, after about a year of hard work, our team completed energy-saving renovations at the food bank, including installing a natural gas-powered furnace to replace their electrical baseboard heaters, installing an energy-efficient air conditioning unit to replace their window air conditioners, and other energy-saving renovations. All of this work was done by our SIFE students, with materials and units being donated. The food bank's energy consumption has decreased by 29,000 kilowatt hours per year, decreasing their energy expenses by $3,200 annually. But more importantly, that money can now be put towards an additional 3,200 pounds of food per year. But we weren't done yet. And we still had things we wanted to achieve.
While we were performing these renovations, our team began the process to obtain a building permit for the freezer. However, due to the complexity of building a commercial freezer, our application was denied several times over a 5-month period and had to be revised. Once accepted, it then took an additional 4 months before it was actually granted approval. It was the persistence of our SIFE members that allowed for the permit to be approved and for the physical work to finally begin.
It was at the ACE National Exposition last year that we presented this photo for the first time. A hole in the ground for the freezer to be built. Something so clearly just the beginning of the construction process, but it was something that was a huge achievement for our team.
However, it also proved to be a huge challenge. For one reason, the hole was dug at the end of April, a time when students return home. Without our students for support, especially some of our SIFE carpentry students, our freezer was forced to wait once again.
This break in working on the freezer, although very frustrating, allowed for a few of our key SIFE members to move ahead with another aspect of this project. In July, we presented a cost-benefit analysis to the Food Bank's board regarding the purchase of the 5-ton truck, highlighting some of the possible options. We aim to educate the food bank about the importance of green technologies and how making these investments can pay off both for the environment and for the food bank's bottom line.
During this presentation, our team also discussed the solar panels. We only had 3 months left to meet the contract deadline, but the panels cost close to $75,000. By applying entrepreneurial principles, we negotiated the cost down by $10,000 and raised an additional $16,000 from various donors to help with the purchase. By educating our food bank's board on the importance of investing in a green business model, they agreed to make the purchase and pay the remainder of the costs.
Fast forward 3 months. The solar panels had been bought and delivered, and with the help of our food bank and our community, we completed the installation. With these panels installed, the contract with the Ontario government for the production of green energy would finally be complete, providing sustainable revenue.
However, like any project, we experienced a challenge. After installation was complete, Kingston Hydro was approached to hook up the meter, which would allow the green energy being produced to be sent through the grid. However, the right meter was not in stock. It took almost 5 months after installation before the food bank was actually hooked up to the grid. But regardless of the delay, the food bank is now producing 12,500 kilowatt hours per year in green energy, bringing in $10,000 in revenue annually. This increase in revenue allows them to purchase an additional 10,000 pounds of food for our community per year, increasing the quality of life and standard of living of those they provide to.
After months of deliberation, March 1st, 2012 was the day that our food bank purchased their 5-ton refrigerated truck. Its cost, complete with loading ramp, was $100,000, but after receiving generous donations from community organizations, they paid only $25,000. We also worked with a local company to secure free maintenance over the truck's 20-year usable life, ensuring its sustainability. This truck will empower our food bank by saving them $10,000 a year in expenses. And even though it won't be delivered until after Nationals, it's one more milestone that we can finally cross off our list.
As we mentioned earlier, this project began on the back of a bus in October of 2009 with the intent of providing a walk-in commercial freezer. Today we've walked you through our successes, including energy-saving renovations, the purchase of the truck, and the hookup of the solar panels. But you're probably wondering, what happened to the freezer? It has been a long, hard 3-year process, from engaging the experts required, finding the materials needed, to evaluating our methods. But it was all worth it, because on April 27th, 2012, SIFE, St. Lawrence College, crossed the finish line. This project has grown from a simple hole in the ground to a complete 1,170 cubic foot walk-in commercial freezer, coming at no cost to the food bank.
Because of our work, the food bank will now be able to increase their frozen food capacity 4 times, equaling approximately 15,000 pounds of frozen food, including flash frozen fruits and vegetables. This allows the food bank to increase the quality of life and standard of living of members of our community. This is especially important considering there's been a 6% growth in demand so far this year at the food bank, meaning that the freezers come into completion at a crucial point.
And this is where our vision for the food bank comes full circle. Through the installation of the freezer, as well as by performing building renovations, we have helped lower the energy consumption of our local food bank and the carbon emissions produced. Through the installation of the freezer, as well as by purchasing the fuel-efficient 5-ton refrigerated truck, we have helped our food bank store and distribute the food that our community needs. And by being accepted into the Microfit program, we have helped create a sustainable form of revenue in an environmentally responsible manner. The following is a testimonial from Sandy Singers, Executive Director of the Food Bank.
Well, the relationship with the students of free enterprise with St. Lawrence College has been nothing short of phenomenal. To have a team of people come into an organization like ours with such limited resources and to be able to make the assessment of what we needed in terms of creating energy efficiencies and just our operational efficiencies has been amazing.
We educated the food bank about the importance of using green initiatives as a solid business investment. And all of these components are sustainable, including 20-year life guarantees, donations from industry experts for maintenance, and knowing that the knowledge that we pass on meets the overall long-term goals of the food bank. We've ensured the sustainability of this project by performing an energy audit on Vinnie's, another not-for-profit local food provider in Kingston. But we also strive for our own team's sustainability.
We understand the difficulty of having to constantly look for project funding, and so this year, we set a vision to create a sustainable form of revenue for our team. An idea to obtain such a revenue stream came after 2 SIFE students attended the World Business Forum in New York City. After hearing of their life-changing experience, we thought to ourselves, wouldn't it be great if we could bring that experience home to share with our community? But wouldn't it be even better if in the process, this idea could bring our team the sustainable revenue our projects need?
The World Business Forum is a 2-day seminar featuring various world business leaders such as Bill Clinton and Jack Welch. These leaders share their knowledge of innovation, managing teams and talent, true leadership, and entrepreneurship.
In March of 2011, our team was able to negotiate the exclusive rights in Kingston and the first in Canada to stream the World Business Forum live during a pilot run. This meant that our team would be able to share the experience with members of our community and that the organizers would be expanding to the previously untouched Canadian market.
I don't think we knew how challenging the project was going to be. It was a large undertaking for our small team, but with the help of faculty, college support staff, and SIFE alumni, we were able to break down the project into key areas of success. Our logistics team researched potential venues and decided on a theater at our local Cineplex Odeon. They also managed stakeholders and team members in New York, Toronto, and Philadelphia.
Due to the lack of funding, our marketing team put their advertising efforts into social media to spread the word about this incredible opportunity. Our sales team worked tirelessly using personal contacts, community organizations, and businesses to fill the seats. And fill the seats they did. We had to upgrade to the largest theater available because of the huge demand.
As the event drew closer, though, we quickly realized there was many system errors. We actually had to rewire the entire system 3 days before the event at midnight. Eventually, after another late night, everything finally came together, with only a few buffering issues.
The whole event went off almost perfectly, and by the end, over 400 people had attended, giving them the opportunity to learn from a number of inspirational business leaders. By using exit surveys as an effective evaluation technique, we discovered there was a huge interest expressed for attending again next year.
The pilot event was a tremendous success, earning our team a 14% return. Now that we have created the groundwork, including evaluations and best practices, we want to take this national. We have already begun talking with other organizations across Canada to allow for a larger audience, and we want to get other SIFE teams on board. After securing sponsorship, any team would have the potential ability to make upwards of $20,000 per event held that can be redistributed into their projects and their communities.
Through this event, we have created an educational, entrepreneurial, sustainable form of revenue, which will continue to serve our projects and those of our partners into the future.
Today we have shared with you only 4 of our many projects which through the power of compound change have harnessed economic, social, and environmental synergies to improve the quality of life and standard of living for members of our community. These solutions were not easy to create and could have only been executed through the commitment of everyone involved who shared in a vision for a better community.
The following is a testimonial from Mark Gerritsen, Mayor of Kingston.
In the City of Kingston, we define sustainability in 4 pillars: environmental, social, cultural, and economic. In terms of the social pillar, SIFE contributes tremendously by empowering people so that they can make decisions that affect their lives down the road. Rather than just helping people, the vision or the idea is to give people the tools they need so that they can continue to help themselves in the future.
All of our projects, including the 4 we discussed today, have amounted to $1,091,700 $672 in economic impact without multipliers.
Over 21,000 pounds of carbon emissions and 42,500 kilowatt hours saved in environmental impact.
And most importantly, 22,266 individuals impacted through social impact, with the potential ability to create an additional 175,300 meals.
By creating partnerships with local organizations and community members, our team has been able to align the resources and efforts necessary to execute our vision and the vision of our community.
A vision that is driving change.
A vision that's driving our team.
A vision that has the power to change the world.
We are SIFE St. Lawrence College.
We will now begin the question and answer period.
That's an excellent question. I think you're going to have us rhyme them off. So that would be, we have Let Us Feed You, which is where we actually grow organic vegetables at our school to give to our local food providers, such as our food bank. You guys are going to have to help me out here. We have Manage Your Future Money, which is a component of Manage Your Money where we're working with pathways to education. James?
We have our visit to Evergreen Brickworks in Toronto, where we do environmental gardening and cleaning up of the Don Valley area in Toronto.
We have Future You, where we're going into high schools and we're actually teaching high school students about the importance of attending post-secondary and the differences in income and the lifestyle you will live if you don't attend post-secondary. Oh my gosh. We know these too. This is crazy.
We're all part of these projects.
How many is that we're missing?
We have the initiatives that we listed up here. So Investment Club is one. What else?
The World Business Forum, the Manage Your Money, and the Food Bank initiatives. We also have our initiatives that we're just beginning now at St. Vincent de Paul or Vinnie's in Kingston, which is very similar to our Food Bank project, but we're just beginning now. I think that's it. And we have our Engine of Entrepreneurship project.
How could we forget?
That's right. That's the other one.
First off, congratulations. That was an outstanding, I guess, year and 3 years. And kind of speaking about that, you built a real strong foundation, it looks like, in 2010 that went into 2011 and now built in 2012. Can you maybe speak a little bit about what you've done this year that's really set the foundation for success in coming years?
Okay.
So,
You got it.
so if I heard you correctly, it's hard to hear up here. You're asking about the initiatives that were actually completed this year on that project?
So I think the way to answer that question is to look at Vinnie's. So we've actually completed the energy audit there. And by using the best practices and the different things that we've learned, and there has been lots of them, through the food bank project, we've actually begun doing those best practices, implementing them in our Vinnie's project. So we've actually gone in and done the energy audit. We've had our carpentry students and our ESET students jump on board, and we're going to be starting that actually this summer, implementing the different things. And that includes sealing the doors and windows, insulating the attic. We're looking at putting in a freezer. So we're just starting sort of the business plan for the freezer, getting the materials required, approaching donors to begin that project.
Well, and as we mentioned, we also have our World Business Forum, which is a huge opportunity for growth with our team. As rough as our pilot run was, it was a success, and we hope to build on that in the years coming.
How have your returns been in your investment club this past year?
That's a very interesting process. So through our 3 funds, so through Kiva, we have received all of the donations we've lent out back, which has been approximately $4,000 this year alone. And in our investment fund, which is the one where we invest in the Toronto Stock Exchange, we have gone through a very long process of getting all the documents implemented, and you have to get stuff notarized, and you have to get about signatures from the college and administrators. So that was actually just approved before we left for nationals. So although we do have the stocks picked out of what we're going to invest in, about $2,500 per stock, we haven't actually done the official investment yet because we couldn't until our documents were finalized, which has taken, I think, 6 months to do.
On the Manage Your Money program, do you have any measurable outcomes on that program in general?
Any measurable, sorry.
Like, how do you measure your success in those programs?
So the Manage Your Money program is actually kind of unique in that we face a lot of confidentiality issues. Because we're working with an organization that works with youth who are under the care of the government, we are really restricted to what information we actually...
Your time has expired. Judges and guests, please help me in thanking the team from St. Lawrence College.